Hello. It's like we need music. Oh, Nick, you're already there. Okay. Hey, Nick. Let's see.
Hey,
What's up?
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
It's all pretty and purple behind you.
Yeah, I asked my wife to borrow her room.
Yes, it looks really nice.
I need to be in purple.
Yes, pretty and purple. So
And
how are you
see,
today?
I have your t-shirt too. I mean, your
Hey,
contacts.
Parliament.
Yes.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So how are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. See the states are starting to open up again. So I don't
Yes.
know, like I feel I mean, of course we all want to get out the house,
Mm-hmm.
but then on the other hand, it's like, is it safe yet, right?
Yeah, so we need to be careful.
We need to be
I'm,
careful. Exactly,
I'm
because
still home.
us as well. Us as well. And your wife is on here. Hi, wifey. Yeah, no. Definitely have to be careful because it's like you don't know what's next, or how
Yes.
things. It's almost like who's gonna be the tester, right? Who's gonna really go out there and see what's going on? So
Which
but
way?
we'll jump right into it.
Mm-hmm.
So who is Nick?
Who
You
is
know,
Nick?
yes, who is Nick?
Nick is wearing multiple hats. I started organizing and helping my family to organize concerts and festivals.
Hmm.
So I was hosting many big celebrity artists and bands and trying to book shows for my festivals. And then when I moved to USA, I started to become a tour manager. So I was working as a tour manager and assistant day to day for Macy Gray. Then I interned for Quincy Jones. And now I'm trying to become, and I'm doing a management work for artist management. So I'm doing various different things.
Yes, and we're gonna dive deep into. I have like lots of questions for you, so we're gonna definitely
Okay,
dive
I'm ready.
into everything you just mentioned. So tell everyone where you're from,
I'm from country Georgia, not the state, from
not the
Eastern
state.
Europe.
So when I never forget when Parliament, we got the itinerary, and it said Georgia
Yeah.
Black Festival, and we said, oh, okay, Georgia, and
You saw
like
the flight.
there was a few of us. Yeah, I'm like, and no, I saw my flight ticket, and I'm like, wait a second, we're not going to Atlanta, Georgia. Like this seems
20 hours.
far. I said to my grandfather, I said, Granddad, Georgia, and he goes, silly girl, the country. And I said, oh, the country. There's a country called Georgia. So we all have those moments where we're like, oh, but I'm happy I asked, because I truly was like, I didn't know there was a country named Georgia.
Yeah, especially it's called Black Sea. It's like people
But
get always confused.
yeah, people do get confused, and I was one of those people. So, but yes, we had a great time. Like I think that country we had, me personally, had a blast there. The
Me too.
hospitality that your family showed us was really, really nice, and we had a great time. And that wine and that big coconut. Well, I mean, no, what was it? A pineapple,
Which one?
and it had like liquor in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Cha-cha with
cha cha.
yeah.
Yeah, we all kept screaming cha cha.
Yeah. And do you remember we celebrated your grandfather's birthday too?
Yes,
Yeah, it was amazing. It
yes.
was really special.
Yeah, I had a great time. I had a really good time. So tell us, with you being, responsible with the festival now,
Hmm.
was that a lot to take on? Because your grandfather started it. So
Yeah.
did you feel like it was stressful, and did you want to take on that responsibility?
I was raised since I was 5, probably. My dad took me to the concerts like James Brown, Ray Charles. So I was just helping him, raising some weights, bags. So while
Wow.
he was hosting this artist, so he was annually like we had like 3, 4 festivals. So
Oh,
he was teaching me who is George Clinton, who is Bootsy, who is Ray Charles. So for me, it became more like natural, and so I was helping him, and then probably in 2011,
Hmm.
the company told me, why don't I help them and host this artist? And my first artist to host was Larry Graham in
Oh, okay.
2011. So I was a runner. Basically, whatever he or his band needed, I was helping. Then they gave me three bands, Sergio Mendes, Stanley Clark, and it became more stressful. I had to create a schedule, uh, whatever they need again to help them. And then when I moved to London, I started to book shows for the festival because I already met some people in London, and for example, Incognito, the band. So I was offering these bands for Georgia for the festival. So then I became like a booking agent for my own festival.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's really cool how you kind of like worked your way all the way up.
Yeah,
So
it's
is it
like
some? Go
mhm.
ahead. No, go ahead.
It's like connecting the dots. So for example, when I started to work with Macy, I was still offering for my festival her to perform at the festival.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's really cool. That is like a family thing because my family
Mm,
P Funk.
yeah.
It's really it's it's great to work with your family, but it also can become a little stressful
Mm-hmm.
because you're really trying to please these people because they're not just your boss, but it's
Yes.
your
And,
dad or your grandfather or whatever. So I remember when we met you in Georgia and we're 25 people, and I think when we walked through the hotel, you were like, oh wow,
uh-oh.
it's a lot of you guys. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot of us.
I think we had like three runners for that group, maybe four.
Wow, yeah, because it was a lot, but you guys did a really good job. So I
Yes.
take my hat off to you for that.
Mm-hmm.
My next question is: you wear many hats in this industry. You own a festival, you manage, you tour manage, you book acts. If you had to only do one of those things, what would you pick?
Probably organizing my own festival, probably in USA.
Oh, okay.
Organizing festivals, I think.
Do you think you're going to bring the Black Sea Festival
Yes.
to America?
I want to do a franchise and to organize a festival here.
That would
But
be
I think
amazing.
it needs to be right time when I'm fully have a full team and I'm fully ready to do it. And now I'm looking for location. How can we do it? Especially now during this virus, it's impossible. So.
Right. Right now, it's definitely could
Mm-hmm.
not happen. But for the future, that would be really cool. I mean, everybody
Yes.
loves the festival, right?
Yes.
So that's really cool. Um, let me. Oh, okay. So how did it feel to be a part of the Forbes 30 under
That was
30?
so unexpected. I didn't know. So I was in Georgia and they wrote me that I won. And
Wow.
no, first they said that I'm nominated. I'm in top five. So they invited me to the event, but I didn't know it was about me and about nominees. I thought it was about more because they said it was about entrepreneurs. I
Okay.
thought it was more about business side, not about
Right.
us. But then I found out that they would announce the winners at that event. So I got really nervous. But
Oh
it was
wow.
amazing because I really appreciate that they appreciate people like me. And
Right. That's a huge honor.
yeah, so I loved it.
You loved it. That's so cool. That is so cool. Okay. So you've worked with some really cool artists like Lauryn Hill, Snoop, Maroon 5, and many more. Can you tell me something you learned from working with such talents? Like, what's the biggest, I guess, lesson? Because that's a broad range.
Hmm. I think biggest lesson for me was that each artist and band is different. They have own requirements, own interests,
Right.
and for me it was a huge experience because I learned how to work with all of them. So, for example, your grandfather likes to fish, so I had to find a fishing location to make sure that he enjoyed his birthday. And
Right.
then Miss Lauren Hill, probably she's more private person, so I had to make sure that she has a good massage person and hairstylist.
Right.
So, and everybody has own requirements and own approach. So for me, it was a huge experience uh, to deal with all these people.
Right. And when you're dealing with that that mega star. You never know
Yes,
what you may get.
exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
so I understand that. Okay,
yeah.
well that's cool. You basically, you're good at listening and being able to please them. That's all
Mhm.
artists really want. Um, so how did you end up working with Quincy Jones, and what was that like?
So I was studying my master's in music business in LA, and my dad uh, told me that he booked Quincy and his all-star band for Georgia. So it was in July, but I still had lessons at school, and I asked my professor if I would be able to fly and host Quincy. And my professor told me that he will only allow if I will be on Skype calls during the lessons. So
Where were you located? Were you in London or
LA,
you made it to the States. Okay.
yeah. So it's a 12-hour difference. So lessons are basically for me was at 5 a.m. So I was
Okay.
on Skype calls from Georgia here at 5 a.m. And I met Quincy. I hosted him, and we were at the restaurant, and I was bugging him about that I want to work for him because I'm in LA, and I'm like persistent.
Yes.
If I want something, I will be begging. And so first he told me, he's like, "Oh man, I have so many people," and I was like offended. I'm like, "What do you mean? Like I'm the best?" So uh,
I
so uh,
love it.
so then he told me, "Okay, do you have a pen and paper?" And we were at the restaurant. I had only a napkin, and I asked the waiter to give me the pen, and he wrote down his manager's email, and he said to send him my resume. And then they hired me for internship. It was the biggest, one of the biggest experience for me. I think it was really good because I was simultaneously finishing my masters
Right.
and working for them, and I think it was really good.
That's great. That's great. And persistence is what you need to have in this industry. I
Yes,
mean, because a lot of people say no,
I know.
right?
Yeah,
So it's like it's a true honor when someone's finally like, yeah, you're like, yeah, okay, what do you want me to do right now?
yeah.
So that's really cool. That's cool. So you went to school in London, you
Hmm.
went to school in Georgia, and you went to school in LA.
Yes.
What would you say the difference between all of
Hmm.
those? Like, what was the biggest difference?
Well, I think the style of learning probably because London was more like I had to be in the library 24/7, studying these financial and accounting subjects. And here in USA, for me, it was very different because it was more about public speaking and discussing in the class and giving your own opinion. When in London, nobody let me ever to say anything in the class. So it was more
Really?
listening. Yeah, it was more like listening. So an accent, of course. Even now, I have a Georgian accent, but I can differentiate UK, British, and American
Yeah.
accent. So I think there is a biggest difference is the approach, how to study, how to learn new subjects.
How to learn new subject. That's really cool. That's really cool. So I know when I met you in Georgia, you said that you played a sport.
Yes, water
And what
polo.
was that sport?
Water polo.
Water polo. So do you still do that? Do you still practice?
I wish I'm practicing with a personal trainer, but I officially retired from water polo.
You officially retired. Okay, okay. So I remember that. You're like, yeah, I play a sport. I just couldn't remember what it was. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're gonna hop back into these questions. So tell us about your beautiful wife, Nick West's new album. Is
Okay,
it complete? Is it out? Give us the
it is
goods.
out.
It's out.
So we just released it on April 1st, and
Okay.
I have one. I'll show you. Here it is.
Wow, that's so dope.
Yep,
And it's so colorful and like beautiful.
yep. So it's out. It came out on April 1st. We have Larry Graham, Cindy Blackman Santana, many, many cool guests. And of course, it's more like funk, rock, pop.
Right. Oh
It's
wow,
amazing.
that's so dope.
Yeah, and your
That's
grandfather is a big influence.
I was
We
about to
love
say
him.
like Granddad should have been on that album. Like she
Yeah,
has a lot of great people on there.
he loves him.
Wow, that's so cool. So how long did it take to, come up with the sound and the image and like everything, the package?
So it took really 3 years.
Oh
So
wow.
she would record one song and next month another one. It was like probably like 3 years work process.
Okay.
And we were touring. We had summer, winter tours all the time. So
Right.
yeah, it was
Is
like
it
a thing.
is it hard juggling working with your wife and also in being married? Can that be a challenge?
For some people it might be a challenge, but for me I think it is easier. First of all, because we constantly all day are discussing what we want to do next,
Right.
and we are taking decision together. And I think it's really important because with some artists, for example, when I worked with some other artists, I would not be able to ask some questions if I am
Right.
not sure of something, or like to take a decision it would take me like I had to take it by myself. But with her we are discussing, and I'm honest, I'm open, and she's open what she wants, so I know exactly what she wants. So I think that helps. But
That's good.
it's difficult sometimes, probably.
Right. I mean, of course, like I said, and you're kind of used to it because you work with your family
Hmm.
anyways.
Yeah.
So you right, you already know how to go into the marriage. I think that's cool. But I know
Yeah.
that could be a challenge. Like, me and my cousin being in Candy Apple Red, we're cousins and we love each other. But then when it comes to creativity or the sound, we always discuss them. But I think our issue is, I guess, hurting the person's feelings. Like,
Yeah.
let's say she really loves something, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that. How do I say I don't really like that
Yeah.
without her feeling away?
Yeah.
So I think that's a good balance, and to be able to be open and honest
Hmm.
with your family and your partner. That's really cool. So May is Mental Health Month awareness. Can you tell me how what are the things that you do to relax and keep your mind feeling good, and like what are things you do in your relaxing time?
I do. First of all, I go out and drink coffee. That's my first. I have to do it, otherwise I will get crazy. Training, like before I didn't know, but now I really realize that it really helps. So now
Oh,
I'm training in the morning and I'm much more happier.
what kind of
Uh,
training? Like exercising? Is there a particular
Exercises,
style?
yeah, I have a Skype trainer, personal trainer.
Okay.
So he's pushing me. So it's really good. It really helps. Music, to listen to music, to learn new skills. I'm trying to learn Spanish. I'm trying to learn other skills to be competitively having advantage
Right.
when it starts again working, and all corporate companies start to work, to be able to have some kind of competitive advantage.
Oh wow. So how long have you been practicing Spanish?
2 months, maybe one.
So how do you think you're doing?
uh, it's easier than other languages, so I think I'll be able to speak soon.
That's interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, I don't know Spanish, but when you learn, I'm like, okay, come on, Nick, drop that Spanish.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so when do you think being from another country, coming to America,
Mhm.
and working in the music industry here was, I guess, how can I put this? I guess was the respect there, where people kind of like, where are you from, or what do you
Oh
know?
yeah.
Yeah, did you run into those
Especially
situations?
when they hear me, my accent, and
Right.
not everybody knows where is Georgia, so I have to explain it. It takes. That's why I'm trying to learn new skills. I have to be much better in order to compete with all other people. So I definitely experience that always.
Wow, yeah. I mean, like you said, you probably always have to start off teaching someone. Like, well, first of all,
Yeah,
Georgia's a country. Let's
yeah.
start there.
It's like I
So,
have always same speech.
always the same speech. Yeah. Does that get tiring?
Sometimes, yeah. Especially
Sometimes.
some people still. I don't know why, but they correlate us with Russia. So if I say I'm from Georgia, and then I say I'm from Eastern Europe, they will be like, "Oh, from Russia," and then I'm like, "No, from Georgia."
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Exactly. It's like they're not the same thing.
yeah.
So I get you. I get you there. Right. Right. Well, that's cool. So are you doing any? Have you been working on any music, or are you any
Um,
projects going on right now?
Now I'm trying to push this album. We are working on. We have campaign. for the Grammys for next year, and that's my main goal, to make sure that we have many publications. And plus, I'm rebooking shows for what we had a tour for planned for summer 2020, but now we postponed it for 21. So I'm so I'm
I was gonna
working on.
ask, like, so with because your wife and you are both really busy,
Hmm.
and with this whole COVID situation, have you had to change a lot? Like,
Oh yes.
yeah, like let's get into that because I know my
Lots
world,
of
my
changes.
life has changed as far as touring.
Yes, I
So
can imagine.
yeah.
Well, we had a whole 2 months tour for June, July, maybe even August, mid-August. So all
Was
these
it a
festivals,
American tour or overseas?
European, Asian, and
Oh wow. Okay.
all the, of course, the festivals are not able to do it this year. So I had to make sure to postpone for next summer. But also because some festivals are changing the dates, I have to do the routing and not to lose any of the shows. So it takes a lot of work, negotiations, lots of emails. Also, Lenny Kravitz, my company planned to have a show on May 30th, but now it's postponed for next year. Imagine 30,000 stadium arena show.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow. So everything you had to postpone to
next year.
next year.
Yes.
And that's the same thing with us. Everything has been moved to
Mm-hmm.
next year. And I know when I seen that calendar, my heart dropped. I said, "Oh my gosh."
I know. So many empty calendar dates.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in probably the last
I
10
know.
years.
You guys always touring. I
Yeah,
love it. I love it.
we're always touring. We're always on the road. So it's like I know for myself, even just sitting still. When it first happened, I was like, okay, well, it's gonna end pretty soon. You know, this
Hmm.
whole crisis. And then it was like, no, it's not.
No,
Okay,
no.
life is about to be a little different, and it kind of was, I guess, like saddening. The
Hmm.
best way to put it, like, no, I'm not gonna see a stage, and I'm not gonna hear that sound
Yeah. And be with your band,
and be with your band and like
family.
and my family. And we bicker a lot in that band, but now I'm starting to miss them.
Yeah.
So
Same for me.
yeah. So and I know you're really far from your family.
Yeah.
So yeah, like how did COVID hit Georgia bad or how was that?
Well, it's the country is fully closed. People cannot walk after 9 p.m. or drive anywhere, and all flights are, of course, canceled. So for me, it's even if I want to, it's impossible to fly now to Georgia. So which makes even more psychologically, like I'm more nervous, stressed.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And you just can't. I know for myself, with my family being in other places, my mom and my dad are both in Canada,
Hmm.
and that's not far, but the border's closed. And so that crossed
Yeah,
my mind. You know, if something
yeah,
happens to a loved
yeah.
one, I can't get to them.
Same for me.
Yeah, and that adds a little bit of stress, just a little
Yeah,
bit of anxiety because things that you say, oh, are so easy. I'll hop on a plane, or it's
yeah.
not as easy. So
Hmm.
I completely understand that. I completely understand that. So
Yes.
I hear California is
Mhm.
opening up soon.
I saw on news.
Yeah. Do you have like any plans to do anything?
Well, I want to because we have a house in California and in Arizona,
Okay.
and we are kind of like waiting now when it will open up to be able to go back and start working on business and my meetings and to try to develop my idea of the festival because
Gotcha.
now everybody is like postponing this meeting, so I have to wait. I think next month or two, I hope everything
Right.
will start working.
Are you in Arizona now or Los Angeles?
Yes, Arizona.
So what do you think about Arizona?
Oh, it's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah, 100 degrees.
It's hot, boy.
Yeah.
I have a funny story. So this past summer, as you know, there's a lot of us, and we had two big tour buses, and we're driving from like Las Vegas to Arizona. So as we're driving from like Vegas to Arizona, the AC goes out on the tour bus.
Oh.
And when I say it was like scorching hot,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this last summer made me want to become a tour manager because I do enjoy being able to help solve the problem.
Yes.
So, you know, and I already do different things for the band, like book hotels and help with itinerary and things of that nature.
So you are
But
too
when the,
manager.
yeah, I'm kind of like the assistant tour manager. And so when the AC went out, the band was like, "Oh hell nah."
Yeah.
And I understood that. I was like, it's so hot. But that moment, that's when I felt the heat of like, oh yeah, when you're the tour manager, they're looking at you. Like, it's hot, our tour bus is broke, fix it. And you're like,
Uh-huh.
well, we can't fix it because we literally had shows every day.
Wow. So you had
Exactly.
to drive.
So we had to drive. It was one of those, yeah. It was like a wedgie, meaning you can't move, couldn't go anywhere. You're just literally going to the next city and hoping that the tour bus does not,
Mm-hmm.
the AC doesn't go out or whatever.
Did
And
you
that
guys
was
all move to another bus? Did you guys share one bus?
so
That's what
that's
I would
so
do.
so that's the thing. So the tour bus, the AC goes out. It's 100 degrees outside. It's 100 degrees on the tour bus. So it's like,
Uh,
what the hell? Where are you gonna go? It got to the point where outside was cooler than inside.
yes.
So that was one issue. And then our tour bus driver ends up having a stroke.
Oh no. Really?
And I said, okay, how could this? And that was the bus that I'm on. And so, yeah, it's kind of like my cousin. She's the tour manager of everything, but of my bus, I kind of run that bus. So like I said, I tell everybody when to leave, when to come, blah blah blah. So now our
Yeah.
tour bus driver has a stroke, and I'm like, what the hell?
Uh,
And so the owner comes out, and this is what's funny. The owner comes out, and he's 85. And everybody look. I know I looked. I said, "Whoa, he's kind of old. It's really hot.
yeah.
How is this all gonna come together?" So
yeah.
I think that was a challenge, but that challenge made me take the classes at Berkeley, School of Music, to say, okay, hey, I can do this tour management thing. I got beat up this summer, but it was a learning lesson, and I enjoyed it. Because
Mm-hmm.
you have to enjoy the good and the bad. It's not all glitz and glamour. And
Exactly.
right. And
Well, I
people,
think you will be a really good tour manager.
yeah, I like to do it, especially when you are an artist, so you know
Mm-hmm.
what an
You
artist
already know.
wants.
Yes.
Exactly. So I think those are things that I would
Mm-hmm.
dive into. And like your wife said up there, do it all. It's like, hell, why not? If you can
Yes.
do it, why not do it, right?
Yeah, it's really for me same thing because I know what promoters want and I
Right.
know what the artist wants. Then for me it's easier to be a tour manager because I'm like a middleman and I know both sides.
Exactly.
So
And
that's
you are
really
so
helpful.
lucky, like putting together a festival.
Mm.
That I you know, I wish like my family could put together a festival. I think that would be hella
We
dope.
should do it.
We should. Look, we should.
I'm
I think
ready.
that would be so cool.
I have Macy Gray on board. She wants to do a festival.
Really?
And your grandfather, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that I think that would be so cool. What was it like mentioning Macy Gray? What was it like working with her?
I
She
love her.
seems really nice. Like my
She's
grandfather
really,
talks really good about her.
she's really
So
nice. She's really sweet. She's like my best friend probably. When I moved to LA, when I was studying, she was always supporting me.
wow.
And yeah, first when I moved, funny story, she gave me her guest house to live in for free. So she always was supporting me, and then she asked me to do a couple errands, and one day she said, "Why don't I become her tour manager?" So
Oh
I,
wow.
yeah, so she always gave me a chance to grow, and she took me to all this record label or any kind of meetings. She
So she like
opened,
took you under her wing.
yeah. So she is for me. I really appreciate her, and that was one of the biggest experiences for me.
Wow. So did you meet her? Did she do the Black Sea Festival?
So yeah, I met her in 2012 or 13 in Georgia at the festival.
Okay.
And then she performed in London, and really by luck, the promoter gave me the ticket to go to her show.
Okay.
And then he was so kind, he said, I can even go to the backstage. So when I went to the backstage, I was again persistent. And I was like, hi, how are you? And of course, she didn't recognize me. And I said, I'm from Black Sea Jazz Festival. You know, I was a dreamer. I was like, okay, I will just try. So I tried, and she's like, why don't we go to my friend's party? And I was like, okay, let's go. So guess where we went?
Where?
I was 18 studying. Like, I had only maybe 200 pounds per month to survive in London, and she took me to P. Diddy's penthouse with all these
Ooh.
Victoria's Secret models, Vin Diesel, Fast and Furious, all the actors and actresses. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, I couldn't wait to call my dad to tell him the whole story. It was my first time ever experiencing being with celebrities in one, and I'm
In
talking,
that form, right?
yeah. So it was crazy. Plus, she didn't even know me, but she just went with me, and she really trusted me. And
Wow.
then when I moved to London in 3 or 4 years, I texted her. And one day she invited me to her house. We went to a Halloween party. So we became friends. So I love
Oh,
her.
that's so dope. That's
Yeah.
really cool when you get to meet someone in the industry that really
Yeah.
gravitates to you.
Yeah.
All you need is that little stepping stone. Once you get that stepping stone, it's like, listen, I'm about to show you what I'm made of.
Yeah.
So that's dope. A Diddy party. I need to go to a Diddy party.
Oh, it was amazing. It was unbelievable. And I'm still regretting because I think it was that time when they released first iPhone or whatever. So I had my iPhone and it died. So I couldn't take no pictures, nothing. And of course, my dad was like, "Are you lying?" I'm like, "No."
Are you lying?
So it was crazy.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so I got so many questions. So with the Black Sea Festival,
Mm-hmm.
what is one hurdle? Like, has there ever been a time where someone's been on stage and something happened, or
Mm-hmm.
a band didn't show up because the flight was delayed? Like, give us
Oh
one of
yeah,
those stories.
many times.
Many times?
Yeah. One
Wow.
time, one artist, big name artist, canceled the show 1 day or 2 days before the festival, and we had to find and replace him with other act because otherwise people had already tickets, and it's
Right.
2 days before, so we booked Buster Rhymes.
Oh.
It was like a 24-hour at night. We had to be on the phone, talk to the agents, to the management. His security was in LA, but he lives in New York. So he said that he will not fly if his security is not coming to Georgia. So we woke him up, the security, at 4 a.m. and he had to catch the flight in 6 or 7 hours because it takes 22 hours to get to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So that was hectic. And we booked pasta. And he sold tickets in 1 day more than the other artists. Double.
Oh, good. Well, good deal.
People loved it. Yeah. We had another one when flights got canceled or postponed because one time there was a recoup. How is a recoup? Military recoup in Turkey. So all these flights from Turkey to Georgia, they got canceled. And
Right.
we had to get private jets to rebook some flights. Miss Lauren Hill had to fly from Georgia straight to Germany with a private jet. So that was a crazy
Wow.
story. I want to elaborate on that story. So
You say you don't want to?
I want to.
Oh, please elaborate.
So we got a private jet, and only 4 seats in the private jet, and she had a lot of bags, and tour manager was worried because it was really rainy and cloudy weather, and we had to read, me and tour manager, the manual for the airplane to make sure that it can fly the weight.
Right.
So how many kilograms, pounds can it take in the air. So it
So
was
how
crazy.
did you handle that? Was everything able to get on the plane?
Yes. So she flew only her and tour manager and assistant. So instead of 4 people, it was only 3.
Right. Wow.
And pilot.
Does she fly? Does she fly private? Did she feel comfortable?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
because this plane was so small, we had to get the plane in 2 hours. So after the show, because the flight she had another show in Sweden next day. So we had to find alternative flight, but there was no flight. So we booked the private jet from our partner
Right.
hotel company.
So when these things happen, when these hiccups happen, do you have to fix them, or is there a team of you that?
We are a team of 5 people, and if I can fix it, I fix it. But we all together mutually try to fix it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a whole nother responsibility right
Yeah.
there. That festival thing, whole nother ball game because so many people buy tickets.
Yes.
And so I can like somebody canceling the night before or 2 nights before. It's like, what the hell do you mean you're canceling?
Yeah.
You need to be here, ready to go.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. Well, I really appreciate you talking to me.
I appreciate your questions.
Yes, this was super dope. And enjoy that Arizona heat.
Yes. You are in Florida?
I'm in Florida.
Say
I'm
hi
in Florida,
to
so
everybody.
I will.
I watched yesterday's live. It was great.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm putting together these lives for my grandfather.
I saw you.
You saw my mom said, Tanisha, I see your little bush in the corner.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm trying to stay away because I didn't get dressed up to do it. So I'm like, okay, Granddad, we have to like do it like this because he made a joke. He's like, I don't want to look old on here. I don't want to look like, hey girl, how are you?
Good. I look terrible, but hi.
Hey, you look beautiful. I look great. And like back to that, I'm like, I was trying to hide too. I'm like, I don't want to be seen.
Yeah.
So I get it, but the lives I was trying to just get them hip, like they're cool to be a part of, and it brings your followers up and all that, and it's easy, especially for someone like him who people are familiar with, and they have so many questions and all that stuff. So I think that was a dope one right there.
I really
and
love
we
it.
have, and we got to get George Clinton and Nick together.
Anytime.
So they need to do something. Because he's working on a new project right now anyway.
I heard it. It's amazing too.
Yeah. So we'll talk. Look, we'll talk about that.
Yes.
After this.
Yes. I'll be persistent. I will be really persistent.
I want to. So yes, you are really persistent. So let me ask: have you ever had a bad? Has your persistence has it ever been turned down?
Oh yeah, a lot of like 1,000 times, million times. Right? But for me, no means sometimes no means yes. So, but if somebody says no, it's okay. I mean, I'll try with other people, or I'll same. My wife said no first. She was performing in Georgia. I said I will marry you, but she said, "Oh boy, please." So I tried again.
Nick, and he got you.
Here I am in her room. So
exactly, sitting on that plush purple couch, right?
Purple bases and
no, I need to learn to be more persistent. Like, no, for me, sometimes like, oh damn, no, ouch, that hurt. You know what I'm saying?
No. You have to try again. And I think that's what, for me, that was the key in my life when I moved here, like in this already 10 years. So I think the biggest key for me was to be persistent. And if somebody says no, try nicely again, or try with another person.
Right. So you've been here for 10 years?
Well, I was in London. Before that, I was in Prague, Czech Republic. So in total, it's 10 years. Yeah.
So we met, what was that? Maybe 14?
That was my summer vacation in Georgia.
Oh, so you weren't living there at that time?
No, I was in London.
You were in London. Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay, and you came back to like work on the festival and all that good stuff.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I hope that I get to go back to Georgia because
anytime you are invited. Yes.
That was amazing. And thank you so much for doing this once
Thank
again.
you. Yeah.
And if Wifey's right there,
Yeah.
wait, tell her to stick her head back in so I can say bye.
She's coming. She's coming. It's okay.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you guys so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Have you, Nick?
Of course,
Like that
anytime.
new project.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, you guys, enjoy your day.
Hi to everyone.
Yes, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us.
How can I save this? Do you know how to save the video?
Yeah.
What do I
Well,
need to
she has to say that.
Okay.
I'll save and send to you guys.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.